So this is a joint work with Razvan Barbulescu, Pierrick Gaudry, and François Morin. And today I will mostly speak about polynomial selection and individual logarithm. So in our work, we target FP2, which is a target group in some pairing-based crypto system. And I will present a record computation of a discrete logarithm in FP2 of 600 bits. So P was of 300 bits. And I will show at the end that the discrete logarithm was 260 times faster than a discrete logarithm in a prime field of same global size. So this will have some serious consequences for pairing-based cryptography. So we didn't broke discrete logarithm in large characteristic, but so this is faster. And all the source code for this record is freely available. So I will record some facts on discrete logarithm, but you already heard a lot in the previous talk. So we are in a finite field in a subgroup of order L. So we will assume that L is prime. And so in this subgroup, computing G, which is a generator to the power x, is easy. And computing x from G and G to the x is very hard. And this is the discrete logarithm problem. So we attack here discrete logarithm in FP2. And this is the start before FP3, FP4, and maybe in a few years, FP to the 12. So here, compared to the previous talk, here P is very, very large. So all the improvement or the talk before does not apply at all. And asymptotic complexity is still in the L of 1/3. I will show in the next slide. Okay. So here the L notation. So we note Q equals P to the N, which is the global size of the finite field. And the L notation so the first constant is usually 1/3, and the second one will determine the asymptotic complexity for a fixed size. So mostly, so the constant C will be the exponent here. So improving the constant will improve a lot the running time. So for discrete logarithm in a large characteristic with a very small exponent n, the complexity is in 1/3 on 1.92, like for RSA, and this is constant since the 90s. So for n greater than 2, we will present two new polynomial selection methods. So in practice, we have great improvements. In theory, the asymptotic complexity is the same. But yes, we were able to do a record more than 200 times faster. And as a bonus of our results, in a medium characteristic, the asymptotic complexity changed. So from 2.42 to 2.20. And there exist multiple number fissive variants of all this work. And you can see the work of Piero at Eurocrypt this year. So now how works the number field sieve algorithm in large finite field extensions. So first we have a polynomial selection step. So we compute two polynomials F and G, and that define two number fields. So like this. And then the two polynomials are such that there exists a common irreducible factor polynomial phi, such that we define the finite field with this one, and we have a map from this number field to the finite field, from the second number field to the same finite field. in this way. So this will help us to be able to generate relations. So the next step is the relation collection step between ideals of each number field. So how does it work? We have ideals of this form in the first number field, and of this form in the second one with the same A and B. And with the map, we can map them to the same element in the finite field. So this gives us relations, and with all the relations we collect, we have the linear algebra phase modulo the prime order of the subgroup. So at the end of these steps, we know the discrete logarithm of all the ideals here received in the number fields. So they are ideals of small norm. And then the final step is the individual logarithm. We know all the small logarithm of small ideals. We have a target, and we want to recover the logarithm of the target from the known logarithm. So we will decompose the target into a smooth product where we want to know all the logarithm of the factors. Okay, so how do we collect relations? So as you see here, so we have an ideal here, another here. Okay, we want a relation, and we want the ideal to be smooth in each of the number fields. So what does it mean to be smooth for an ideal? We want the norm of the ideal to be smooth. We want it for both sides. So we approximate the smoothness property with the norm of the ideal, and we consider that the smoothness of the norm will be approximately the same as the smoothness of an integer of the same size as the norm. And we bound it by e to the power of f, so e is the bound on A and B, so e to the power of f times coefficients of f. So this is the maximum size of the coefficients of the polynomial f. And then for the two polynomials we want to select at the first step, we need a high smoothness probability of the ideals in the number fields. So we will estimate this by this bound. So this bound is the bound on the product of the norms of the ideals. We want it to be as small as possible. If it's very small, then we will have a good smoothness probability, and we will have a quite fast step of relation collection. So we want this to be as small as possible. So where can we improve? So we have degree of f, degree of g, the size of the coefficient of f and of g. So we want to generate two polynomials f and g of small degree, which will be at least n, and of very small coefficient as possible. So the problem is that we cannot have both at the same time. We need to balance the degree and the coefficients because we want to have two distinct number fields, so that I will explain in an example later. Yes, so this is the first method we present. So this is a generalization of the Joux and Lassier method of 2003. So a simple version is to choose first a polynomial f of degree n plus 1. So we are in a finite field fp to the n. We choose f of degree n plus 1 and g of degree n. So since we choose f first, we can choose it with very small coefficients. We choose it such that when we factor it modulo p, there exists degree n irreducible factor that we denote by phi. So phi has coefficients modulo p. They are very large. I noted them in bold here. They are of size approximately p, so that's too much for us. So what can we do? We use LLL reduction of lattice. So we define the lattice with this matrix. On the diagonal, we put p, and on the last line, we put the coefficients of phi. And phi is monic, so we have 1 here. Then we apply LLL to this lattice, and we get a reduced element here so that helps us to define a degree n polynomial, G. And thanks to LLL properties, the coefficient size of the coefficient G here, the size is bounded by the determinant of the matrix divided by the size of the matrix. So here it's P to the power n over n plus 1, which is much better than just P. So if we look back at the bound and the norm we want to minimize, so we have e to the power degree of f plus degree of g, which is almost optimal because we have n plus 1 plus n, so 2n plus 1. And the size of the coefficients here is, so for f, it's about log p, so I just don't keep it. And for g, it's p to the power n over n plus 1. Okay, so this is an example. Take p of 10 digits, for example, and n equals 2. So first we choose f, so I choose it with very small coefficients and class number 1 and so on. And if I factor it modulo p, so then I find phi of this form with very large coefficient. You can see that they're of size about approximately p. So I define this lattice, and with LLL I get a second polynomial g of coefficients, so of p to the power 2/3. So yes, so this construction is a generalization of a method of 2003 for prime field, and it was written by Răzvan Barbulescu in his PhD thesis 2 years ago. And we learned a few months ago that this construction was also proposed by Matyukin in 2006 and published in Russian in a Russian paper, and that's why we were not... yeah. And so this is the second polynomial selection that we propose, that we call the conjugation method. So this is an example for FP2. If P is equal to 7 modulo 8, then x4 plus 1 is irreducible over z, but factored into 2 irreducible polynomials over q of square root of 2 and also modulo p. So we can write of this form over q of square root of 2. And modulo p, we can also write a factor f, and we have phi of this form with r root of x2 minus 2 modulo p. Okay, so phi here has very large coefficient r here. So, but what can we do? We can use the rational reconstruction method. So we have r of very large size. We write u over v equals r modulo p, and with rational reconstruction, u and v will have half size. So then we replace r by u over v and multiply again by v to compute the polynomial g, and so that the coefficients are of size approximately square root of p instead of p. So this method generalized to higher n, so the degree of f will be 2n, and the degree of g will be n. The coefficients of f are of very small one, and the coefficients of g are of square root of p. So the bound norm we want to minimize here. So we augmented the degree in e on the constant e here, but we reduced a lot the size of the coefficients of the polynomial g, and in practice this will be better for FP2. So another work on individual logarithm. After the polynomial selection, so we have the two number fields defined by f and g, and also the irreducible polynomial phi, which define the finite field. So we have a map from the number field to the finite field. So a root of f alpha, we map it to x in the finite field. After the relation collection step and the linear algebra step, we know all the logarithms of ideals of small norm in the number fields. So the norm is bounded by a constant b of LQ of 1/3 of something. And computing an individual logarithm, so we have a random target S in the finite field. We compute a preimage in the number field, so we lift the coefficients modulo p to coefficients in Z, and we evaluate it at alpha. So we have an element in the number field, an ideal, and we want to have a smooth representation of this preimage in the number field so that it decomposes into ideals of small norm, and we can compute its discrete logarithm. So for doing that, we need to have the preimage S to be B smooth, so that we will know all the logarithm of the factors. So this is very hard to find smooth decomposition like this. So we discovered that for FP2, the classical method works, but for FP3 and FP4, it was very, very slow. So what is the problem? So the running time on finding a smooth decomposition of the norm in the number field depends on the size of the norm. So the size of the norm of the ideal, I use again the same bound. So it's the coefficient of f to the power of the degree of the preimage and the coefficient of the preimage. So what is the problem? The problem is that the coefficients of the preimage are of size of about p, and so we have p to the power of degree of f, and that is much too large. So what do? We will reduce the size of the coefficients of the target and the degree of the target at the same time. So again, we define a lattice. So for example, with x4 plus 1 for f, the target in the finite field has two coefficients. We make it monic, so that this coefficient 1 is 1. We define this lattice, so P. We put the coefficients of the target S. We put the coefficients of phi and then again of phi. And we compute the LLL reduction of this lattice. We get an element carried R in the a polynomial, and we can map it in the number field. And the coefficients of this element here will be bounded by, again, the determinant of the matrix divided by the dimension 4 here. So this is P of 1/4 instead of P. So it's improved a lot. And then the norm of the R we computed here is over about P instead of P square. So the smoothness probability will be improved a lot, and the individual logarithm step will be fast enough compared to the other steps. So the last thing to note is that do we have discrete logarithm of this preimage quite strange we computed here equals to the discrete logarithm of the target? So yes, we have that, and why? So LLL gives us a linear combination of the rows we put in the lattice. So here, if we apply the map from the number field to the finite field to the reduced elements here, we have so the linear combination of the rows. We add P, the target, phi, and phi. And if we reduce it modulo P and modulo phi, then this is 0, this is 0, this is 0. We have so A2S, we apply rho. You have U times S, so S is the target. And U is just a scalar modulo P. So this is in the subfield of FP2. So if we compute discrete logarithm modulo P plus 1, so the subgroup of FP2, then the logarithm of this scalar will just be 0 modulo L. And then we have the logarithm of the reduced one element we computed equals to the discrete logarithm of the first one. And this gives us a quite nice improvement of the asymptotic complexity of individual logarithm from LQ of 1/3 1.44 to LQ of 1/3 on 1.14. And this generalized to the other polynomial selections methods and to FP3 and FP4 and, for other n. But this constant, we have it only for n equals 2 and n equals 4 for the moment. So to finish, a few slides about the record we made on discrete logarithm in FP2. So we choose P of 300 bits, so that the finite field is of 600 bits, so approximately 180 decimal digits. We compute discrete logarithm in the subgroup of P plus 1 of order L with 8 times L equals P plus 1. So this is very large prime order. So P minus 1 is also almost prime. And for these values, the almost optimal value of E, so the bounds and the ideals we sieve over, is approximately 27 bits. So which polynomial selection do we choose? So with the generalized Joule-Hersey method, we can choose this F, so we have G of coefficient of P over 2/3. Okay, and for the conjugation method, we can choose x to the 4 plus 1, and the coefficient of G of square root of P will be smaller than with the other method. So we choose the conjugation method here, and here is the polynomial G, which is reciprocal, and the coefficients are of about 150 bits, so half of P. And we choose these targets at random, and the generator we choose x plus 2 in the finite field. And then to speed up the relation collection and the linear algebra, we'll also use the Galois automorphism available in the polynomials. So we can see that we have Galois automorphism for F and for G, so we can double the number of relations that we collect for free using this Galois automorphism. And since of the speedup of factor 2 in relation collection, we have a speedup of factor 4 in the linear algebra. And we have also other important simplification, thanks, for example, for using units in the number fields. And finally, we were able to compute the discrete logarithm of the target here. So now some running times. So I will compare a record with integer factorization of an RSA modulus of the same size, and with computing a discrete logarithm in a prime field of the same global size. So this is not the same P here and here. So for our records, the relation collection step took a few months, so less than half a year. The linear algebra took 18 days, in fact. So why? Because of algebraic simplification, we were able to use a code to run on GPU instead of CPU, and in GPU it was extremely fast. And so the total running time of a record was less than half a year in CPU time, and in practice it took us less than 2 months on a cluster. So we compare with discrete logarithm in a prime field of same global size of 180 decimal digit. So it was 50 years for relation collection and 80 years for linear algebra. So 130 years total. So the factor here is of 260 times. So we were really, really faster. And this is even faster than integer factorization, so by a factor about 11. So the conclusion is that discrete logarithm in small extension of prime field, and in particular here FP2, It's much easier than integer factorization and then discrete logarithm in prime field. So the asymptotic running time is the same, but in practice, yes, we have a lot of improvements. And for all the details, so the paper is available on the HAL. And so we have another one with all the algebraic improvement I don't have time to show here. The source code is freely available, and then you can solve your own DLP in FP2. And maybe they will have more news this summer. And thank you for your attention.